Good morning, beautifuls. So I thought probably the last love letter for the year. It's been a while since the last one, and that's because the love letters are not a spamming thing. It's purely from my heart to yours, and that's why they arrive into your letter in your inbox when my heart is strongly guiding me to get into your world. Good morning. It's 5:45. I've been awake for about an hour. I wanted to sit outside, but the midges were absolutely killing me. I'm covered. So I jumped inside my office. As I hope you know, I'm never going to just put on this delightful face for you because I'm always going to show up as me, who I am, because that's what I'm here to show you, right? That you are absolutely perfect just the way you are. And that's why I come in here just as I am, however that might be in the day. And that's the same for my programs and for my gatherings. And I'm just the same as you. We're all the same. And I'm not going to do as some people do and just glorify themselves to look that little bit extra, because we're all the same. We're all in the same playground. We're all together. And I felt that this love letter will be a scripted letter as well as a video for you to enjoy however you want to enjoy it. You might be just listening for a little bit and then tune out and read the script, whatever feels right to you. We're coming to the end of the year, and last night when I was scripting, I sat down and I thought about the year that's been, and I thought about the year ahead, and I'm really going to script down and it's a good word to use, write down what my next year will look like and the years to follow from that. And when I wrote down this year, what it's been this year, it's really, really interesting, because there's been so much, and I feel there's always so much, and we get lost and we're like, oh man, nothing has happened this year. And I thought about it, and the most profound thing that I realized was that this year alone, I have found a very minimum of 700 hours. I would dare say it's the double of time that I've invested into myself just this year alone. I used to be the person that said, I don't have time. This year I've gifted myself, I dare say 1,400 hours, but I'm going to say 700 hours that I've invested into myself. 700 hours where I have grounded, just laid in Mother Earth, where I have meditated, where I have had cacao ritual, where I have danced, where I've moved my body, where I have read a book, where I have learned from my coach, where I have scripted, where I had journaled. Time that I've just invested into myself to see and feel everything within, to extend and understand, and to just be with me. And that is a lot of time. Because quite a while back, it must be like 2 years ago now at least, I listened to a lady on a podcast, and she was extremely successful business owner. She was a mother of 3. She was a Christian, and she was a very present mother. She earned a lot of money. And she said, we all have the same time. Obviously, we all know that. But like I say about the book, that sometimes we read a book, and every time we read it, we get a different message. So when she said that, I went, holy meat pie. I have the same amount of time as her. She does a lot, and I'm here saying I don't have time. We all have the same time. We all have the same opportunities, almost. We all at least have the opportunity to make a choice and to change. So I did. I started to create a morning routine, and when I started with that, I started with looking what others did, and I started to copy what other people did. And it was a force. I forced myself to do the same thing every single morning. It didn't feel right. And then after a while, I realized that a morning routine is the time that I attend to myself before I attend and make myself available to anyone else. I attend to myself before I make myself available for anyone else. And what does that do? That makes sure that I'm full. I'm full to the brim and I'm overflowing by the time my daughter wakes up. By the time I attend to my partner, I still am learning. I am still getting better. I'm still growing. But I learned that the more time I put into myself, the more present I could be, the more pure I could be, the more loving I could be, the more balanced my nervous system was. So I started to do my morning routine my way. And I started to wake up early. And what I realized was I started to understand when I felt the best. I tracked the time I slept. I changed my sleeping routine. And if you went into this come sleep with me routine, or whatever you want to call it, inside of Facebook or Instagram, wherever you were, I shared with you what I did as a nighttime routine. As babies, we have all these cues for our babies, where they're going to sleep and what they're going to do before they go to bed. We're winding down, and we forget to do that for adults. We forget to do that for ourselves, but our bodies need it. So I started to use a winding down routine, a nighttime routine. I stopped watching TV, really. Nothing wrong with watching TV sometimes, but I would watch TV every night, and I stopped doing that. I stopped binging Netflix. I would be on Netflix like 2 o'clock in the morning. And I started to put in the rules that no electronic device at least 1 hour before bed. Most of the times, 2 hours before bed. And I would read, or I would script, or I would meditate, or I would breathe instead. 2 hours before bed. And then I would sleep, and I would have a good sleep. And after about 6 months, I realized that I feel the very best when I have 6 hours sleep. During my moon cycle, my menstrual cycle, I need about 8 hours sleep. So that's an extra 2 hours sleep I need for that full week, which is fine. So I learned this year that a morning routine fills me up and makes it available for me to be the person I want to be. It connected me with my body, my sensuality. It connected with me, my senses. It also filled my cup. It made me feel my body and understand where my body was tight. And wherever my body's tight, I know there's something sitting stuck in there, and I need to release and feel it and acknowledge it and move it. So I connected with my soul, I connected within, I connected with source energy, I connected with Mother Earth, I connected with my body. I started to understand. I learned. I invested so much time this year learning from others, reading books, understanding and absorbing all that I possibly can absorb for myself, but also for everyone else, because that is wisdom that I can share with others, right? And I make sure that I practice it before I preach. So I learned my nighttime routine. I understood my body. I understood my mind. I learned how to regulate my nervous system, especially with breath work. I learned how many hours sleep that I feel the best from. I started to understand my moon cycle better. When I'm in what phase, what do I need, and how can I support that? Started to move my body. I meditated more. I started to rise early. And now I wake most days on my own because my body's ready to rise with the sun. And as it's getting lighter and lighter, I rise earlier and earlier. I rise anytime between 4 and 5 o'clock. I rise so that I can have about 2 hours for myself before my daughter wakes up, because I want that time. I need that time. That's the time when I sit in ground with Mother Earth. I sit on the ground outside. I listen to the birds. I feel the plants. I consume my beautiful medicinal ceremonial grade cacao for my body and for my soul. This year I also stopped having coffee, and that nervous system, that trigger, that concept was within, I call it the front spine because it feels like it was going straight down here. I've always had this static feeling, and I thought that was normal. And I stopped having coffee because my body basically told me, you're not having coffee anymore. And I've been a barista for 24 years. I love coffee. Coffee used to be my life, used to be what I look forward to. I stopped having coffee and I started having mushrooms. I started consuming so much mushroom broth, mushroom powder. I started consuming a lot of mushrooms. I started nurturing my body. I started to pray and bless my water so that when I drink my water, I'm actually lubricating my body. I'm filling my body up with blessed water. It's not just water. I started to drink at least 3 liters of water every single day. I never used to drink water when I first came to Australia. I started to drink more water. Most days, I would say at least 3 days a week, I only have my broth, my mushrooms in the morning until about 11 o'clock. And that's when I will eat my first meal or my first food to let my body rest and to be able to heal itself. Because when we fast our bodies, our body naturally heals and repairs. I don't do that every day. And I learned to listen to myself. So if it doesn't feel good, I'm not doing it. And if it feels good, I do it. And I started to understand that it's okay. It's okay to do whatever feels good. It's okay to listen to yourself and do whatever that is. What else did I do this year? I created some incredible friendship. I also learned to understand friendship and when friendship needs space and when to speak up. I also did that in the wrong way and seen that and acknowledged that and apologized for that. I started to understand on a deeper level with help from my coach that what I see is as sort of the biggest problem in my life is not actually theirs, it's actually mine to work on, which was a big one. I invested the most possible amount of money I have ever spent on myself, on learning and growing, investing in coach. I started to take time to do things for me, which is, since I became a mother, was a really hard thing. Even before I was a mother, I didn't really invest much time or money in myself. I started to go to breath work. I started to go to meditations. I started to go to women's circles. I started to go to gatherings, dance gatherings. I invested time and money to do things for me that felt good for me. I became extremely confident in the way I parent. Extremely confident in the way I parent. Which, if you choose to parent in a different way than what's the normal way, can sometimes be very hard. And every day I feel stronger in that, and I know that what I'm doing is the right thing for me and my daughter to do. I also cooked probably the very least I've cooked in my life. I cook a lot. I love to cook, but I cooked the least I probably have cooked in my life. I also cleaned absolutely the very least I've ever cleaned in my life because I chose that. I made a decision that that is not actually the most important thing for me to do. There is other things I'd rather do. I stopped caring too much about the cleanliness. I accepted that there's other things I want to do. And if I choose to not clean, it will be a mess, and then I will choose to be okay with that. I love my body even more this year. My body's changed a lot this year. It's been up and down, whatever that means. It's really changed a lot. And I love my body. And this year I love my body even deeper. Even deeper. Coming from a lot of wounded body issues from previous in my life, that is really important for me to continue loving on my body. I allowed for myself to change, and I welcome change. I invested, I purchased things for myself that felt really good for myself to do, which is also a new thing. And then to the more practical things. This is the first year I became a mother of a child that goes to school, making lunch boxes, school uniforms, school excursions, making sure things are done, making sure my daughter is organized for school, supporting her with reading and not a lot of homework, but making that a sort of a routine. I made myself flexible and allow for my daughter to watch more TV, which is totally against me, but that's what I noticed, that she needs to relax. So I accepted for more of that to come into her life. What else? It's the year I birthed my business. It's the year I birthed my business. It's the year I hired a professional web designer that happened last year, but it was launched this year, to create my website. It's the first year I held consistent gatherings for women. It's the first year I invited cacao to be a ritual in my life. It's the first year since I became pregnant I have worked the very most as an employee. It's probably the first year I've been told by young 20-year-olds what to do and not to do when I go to work. It's been a challenge. There is a lot that's been this year. A lot. And why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because I want you to think about that. I want you to think about all of the things that has been this year. Maybe even make yourself a recording and save it, or write it down, to understand all of the things that has been this year. The things that feels icky, the things that you're not feeling great about. Make sure you acknowledge them and make them seen and go, how can I make that better? How could I have done that in a different way? How could I have supported that person in a different way? How could I react it in a different way? And how can I learn to act instead of react? What can I do to support my body in a different way? How can I speak to myself to support myself? How can I understand myself better? All of the things, because 12 months is an incredibly long time. Everything and anything can happen in 12 months. It is a very long time, and it also goes like this. But you have the ability to make a change in your life within like 4 weeks' time. You can make an ginormous change in 4 weeks' time. So I want you to look back to your year, the year that has been, and think about what has been. What are you extremely proud about? What makes you feel really, really good? What makes you feel not so good? And how can you continue doing the things that make you feel really good? And how can you change the thing that doesn't make you feel really good? I also want you to sit down and plan personally, business-wise, work-wise, body-wise, the next 3 months, the next 6 months, the next nine months, and the next 12 months, the next 2 years, the next 6 years, and the next 9 years. What do you want it to look like? What do you want it to feel like? What do you want this time to be? Because this is what we go deep into in You Are the Author of Your Own Life. That you can wander around without a set GPS, and you will wander around. But once you set that GPS, once you set that destination, once you have that vision of what you're wanting to get to, then you will get there. But if you don't know where you want to go, you will just wander around. And for some people, that's fine. Some people like it like that. Most people don't. They want to know. They want to have a vision of what they are wanting, where they're wanting to be. But you need to set that GPS. It's like a car. You can wander around, drive around forever. But if you don't know where you're going, you're just going to go around like this. And most likely, you're just going to continue Groundhog Day for the rest of your life until you're realizing that you have to be the one making a change. So I encourage you to sit down and think of the year that has been. How can you make it different? How can you welcome change? What worked really well and what can you continue to do? Because you are the author of your own life. You are the creator of your life. And the more aware you become of that, the more it becomes your book, the more it becomes your story, but the more it becomes your movie. So I truly encourage you to do that. I'm sending you so much love, and I am extremely excited for next year. I'm extremely excited for this week, and I truly am so excited for every day. Every day when I go to my job. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love it, or I wouldn't be doing it. But I also can't wait to 100% be within my business. But every time I go to work, and this has been for at least 24 years of my life, every day I have at least one person telling me, how can you be so happy? What did you take this morning? You take too much coffee. And I used to believe that it was the coffee that made me the way I am. As I said, I have not had coffee. So it is definitely not the coffee. It is me. I am absolutely high in life. Yes, I have shitty days. Yes, I have days when I lay in bed and don't want to wake up. And you should know by now that I have a past. We all have a past. I used to be dependent on antidepressant. I used to think that I couldn't live a day without them. So I know what it feels like. But I made a choice. I made a choice to choose life every day. And every day I honestly feel is the most incredible day. And now I know that even the shitty days where things feels like shit and I feel angry and I feel like a failure and things feel so shit, I look at them and I go, okay, it's all right. You sit with it, you feel it, you understand where it's coming from, and then you bring in the truth, because that's not the truth. I'm sending you so much love, guys. I hope to see most of you on Saturday. It would be such a delight to see you on Saturday. And this year I have scripted more than I ever have scripted in my entire life. I don't like to call it journaling. I never used to write things down. Well, when I was really young, I used to write novels, which was diary novels. And I stopped, and people were like, you got a journal? I was like, I don't want a journal. And then I started to script this year, and it feels so good, because once it's out, it is out. I'm sending you so much love, guys. I truly hope to see you all on Saturday, because I think that might be the very last gathering for the year. And I would love to fill you with so much gratitude and proudness for yourself for the year that has been. And remember, it's through the thick, muddy, deep parts of our life that lotus come out, right? And when we're starting to understand this, we're starting to appreciate the dark moments, the thick, sticky moments. And I'm so excited for next year. We're going to have 4 rounds of Say I Do to You, and they're going to be more profound and more powerful than they ever have been, because as I am constantly growing, so is everything that I share with you. I don't like to do this an advertising thing, but the price will jump from $333 to $555 from the 1st of January. So if you feel called, you should jump on now. And I'm also going to put in a deposit. So if you put in a $50 deposit, you will lock in that price, and it just has to be paid in full before we start in February. I'm sending you so much love. And honestly, thank you so much. You being in my life is part of making my vision a reality. And for that, I will always be so extremely grateful. Have a beautiful day. And if I don't see you, have a wonderful Christmas. Remember, it's not about stress and rush and get things perfect. It's about creating beautiful memories with your loved ones. Mwah.